Hey, FYE Finance family, welcome to this edition of Flip It with Samara, another tutorial edition. I'm so excited about these tutorial editions. I hope that y'all have been enjoying them as much as I have been enjoying presenting them to you, right? So in this tutorial edition, we're going to look at yet another tool that I created, right? Again, I created these tools to help me along my financial journey. And so, since they have brought me success, I wanted to definitely share these tools with you. So, hopefully, they can bring you the same success, if not greater success, along your financial journey, right? I'm keeping with the theme of what FYE Finance is all about, education and elevation, which is what these tools are doing. They're both educating and then elevating our financial literacy to the level that we aspire to achieve, right? And so, with that being said, we are going to be talking about our money manager tool. Okay, so last week we talked about our business profit and loss statement tool, which is sort of like a money manager for businesses, right? It shows all the money coming in and then it shows the money going out. And so we talked about that tool, and I walked you through how to utilize that tool for our small business owners. And so this money manager tool is now looking at a money manager from an individual perspective, okay? So this is for individuals, for people like yourself and me, who just want to do better at managing their finances, right? That's why I call it our money manager tool, okay? You want to be able to tell your money what to do. And so this tool allows you to do just that. And we're going to also look at that 50-30-20 rule and how to accurately see by utilizing this tool rather you are where you need to be when it pertains to that particular rule. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to jump right into it, right? And we're going to bring up the money manager tool. Okay, so on the money manager tool, there is an introductory tab. All right, I know this is a little different from last week because we didn't have much of an introductory tab last week when we did the profit and loss tool for the businesses. More so because I felt like I talked about it a lot before, and a lot of the tool and like maneuvering around in the tool was self-explanatory. It was very, very simple tool, so I didn't give a lot of introduction about the tool. Okay, but this tool is a little more robust, right? So I wanted to make sure that I gave an introduction, well, getting tongue tied, about the tool. All right, so in the introduction, please make sure that you read this, right, before you start with the tool. I'm not going to go through the whole introduction because it definitely does give you insight as to where I was, right, when I decided to create this tool, where I was in my life, in my financial journey, and hopefully it gives you inspiration, right? Again, I always say it doesn't matter where you are along your financial journey. We want to meet you where you are, and we want to help you get to the goals you're trying to achieve. And so each one of these tools that we created was with that in mind, to help elevate you no matter where you are on your financial journey. So in the introduction tab, you're going to see the purpose of the tool, and then you're also going to see instructions on how to use the tool. You're going to have screenshots, right? As you can see here, you have screenshots because I'm all about those screenshots, so that you can visually see the examples and the areas that you'll be able to update within the tool, right? And you're going to definitely see some of the summary views in the tool. Okay, so you're going to see whether it is a good for green, right? Green means good, or if it's red, that means bad, right? That means that we overspent. So we'll talk about that when we jump into the tool. So let's go to the tool. So this is our money manager tool. Okay. What we did here was we tried to separate the monthly expenses that you would normally incur into different buckets to help you better manage those expenses. All right. We felt like if we had listed them all out, just going straight down, like it may have been a little confusing, maybe a little bit overwhelming. So we wanted to provide it to you in bite-sized pieces. All right. So we have our housing buckets, our saving bucket, utilities, entertainment, vehicle, investment, retirement, personal care, kids' activities, meals, cleaning services, credit cards, travel, phone, internet, cable, pet, credit card, education, giving, medical. So again, we try to give you an area or buckets, right? For every spending aspect that you may have in your day to day, right? And within those buckets, within those areas, right, you also have the ability to put what you are paying for, right? So this is your rent, your mortgage. If you have pest control services for your home, lawn care services, right, home security, all of those are part of your housing costs, okay? And know that you can change these, okay? So if you don't have pest control, but there's something else that you want to put there, you can put that there, okay? So you can definitely change what you are spending your money on, even under those categories, right? So feel free to make this your own. This is your personal money manager. So you want to personalize this as much as possible. Okay, so that is easy for you to update this every month to keep track of your spending. Okay, and then when we go over here to the right, you will see, I'm going to move over some more because I see my little face is blocking the view. All right. So you'll see over here to the right that this is the summary of all of the expenses that we're capturing over here to the left. Okay. So let's say, and I kind of skimmed over. So I'm going to go back before I get ahead of myself. So in the housing category or the housing bucket, you'll see that we have mortgage, right? So pretty much your mortgage payment is the same every single month, right? It doesn't change, right? And so you can easily budget for those things. That's what I call fixed costs because the costs stay the same month over month. Okay. So let's say that your mortgage is $1,500. You know that's what it's going to be. So when it comes time to make that mortgage payment, call it on the 15th of the month, you record, hey, I paid $1,500. Now let's go to a cost that may fluctuate. Aha, utilities. So let's say that your electricity bill last month was, I don't know, let's call it 200. And so based on last month's utility, you estimate, oh, this month it might be $200 also. But let's say you had some unexpected guests. You had some visitors that came into town and it caused your utility bill or your electricity bill to go up by $50. So now instead of 200, it's $250. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is what's happening over here to the right. So in the summary tab, right, we have good and we have bad, okay? So whenever it's bad, it's going to be in red and it's going to have parentheses around it, because what this is saying is you budgeted $200, but you went over your budget by $50 because you actually spent $250. So whenever you go over your budget, that's a bad thing, right? That's something that we should not be doing, especially if we can prevent it, right? So you definitely want to make sure that you're paying attention to what you are budgeting versus what you're spending. Ideally, you would want your budget amount. So let's say right here, Netflix is let's say something that does change. So we won't go with Netflix because that's pretty going to be the same thing month over month as well. So let's say the water bill we budgeted $80. But you know, y'all were super conservative. You turned the water off when you were brushing your teeth. So let's say you only spent $75. So what happens over here in the summary tab? So if you notice now, oh, it's still over because this is in the same tab. So let's not do it on this one. Let's do it on, let's go to vehicle. Okay, so let's say that maintenance and repairs. Let's say we said we were going to spend 100 and we only spent, let's call it 75. Okay, so now what happens is And vehicles, we budgeted 100 and we only spent 75. So see, that's a positive number, right? That's good. The positive, no red is good. Okay? So red, bad, no red, good, right? So I wanted to give you an example of like how you can just plug and play. You're literally just plugging in your budgeted amount at the beginning of the month, right? Because it's going to be based on historical data, especially if it's what I call fixed costs. So fixed costs, think about things like your mortgage, your insurance for your car, that shouldn't change. If you don't have an escrow account and you're paying your homeowner's insurance every month, that's not going to change. Even let's say daycare fees for your kids, that probably is not going to change. So those things that are going to be the same amount month over month, fill those in first. Do the budget for those first, okay? Get all of those filled in first. And then as the month progress, right, you can go in and you can update what you actually spent, okay? And then you'll be able to look at this summary and you'll be able to tell from totality whether you are over budget or under budget, right? Based on this summary, based on the good or bad, right? And then the next thing I want you to pay attention to is your income line. So this line is just any number you want to plug in here, right? And so this should represent your monthly income. Make sure that you are including your monthly household income. If these are going to be household bills, make sure that this income is household income, right? So you and your spouse. If you and your spouse share the bills, then you and your spouse income should be reported here. So in this situation, let's say that it's $5,000. So what the tool is now doing is saying, okay, it's taking that $5,000 that we're saying is income, minusing the spent, the expenses that we've already paid for, and that's how we're arriving at our net income, right? And notice it's green, okay? So the net income is green. Green is good, right? Red is bad. So if this number was less than the expenses that we've already incurred, then we should see a bad result, right? So remember, green is good, red is bad, okay? So now you can see if our income was only $1,700 for the month, but we've already spent $1,800, then guess what? Our net income is red. That means we are overspending. We're spending more than we have actually coming in. So that's bad. Okay. And you might ask, how are you able to do that? You can easily do that, especially if you are using things like credit cards to support your living habits, right? So people, you'd be surprised. People rack up credit card debt because that is how they are funding their living expenses, through the use of credit cards. And we don't want to do that, right? And so in order for us to do that, we have to learn to manage our money. In order for us not to live paycheck to paycheck, in order for us to not to live in debt, we have to get very comfortable with managing our money and telling our money what we want it to do. Okay. So that's what this portion of the money manager is doing. It is helping you create a budgeted amount, and then it is allowing you to input what you actually spent to see how good you are with managing your money month over month. Okay. And then we have this little added over this little this added I guess little gift over here. I'll call it a gift. And so what this is referring to our 50-30-20 rule, right? So if you're unfamiliar with the 50-30-20 rule, there are a lot of finance gurus, they tell you that you should have so much of your income allocated to different buckets by percentage, right? So for your essentials, that should be 50% of your income, right? For your wants, 30%, and for your savings, 20%, right? That's why I call it the 50-30-20 rule. So this is how you should have your money allocated, right? According to the gurus, right? The financial experts. This is what they're saying you should utilize as a baseline. So, what we decided to do to even help you even more along your financial journey, remember, we're about education and what? Elevation. So, to help you elevate, we decided to put together this summary of the essentials, right? Or I should say, of the 50-30-20 rule. So, you have your essentials here, right? You have your wants and you have your savings. And because we are over budget, you can see that we have pretty much all of our money is going to essentials, right? But as you plug these numbers in and you start to fill out your budget and your spend, you should notice or should see that these percentages should line up close to what the rule of thumb is, right? If they don't, then you definitely need to make some changes in that area, right? You should definitely not be spending more than 50% in your essentials. And your essentials would be things like your home, your utility, things that you need in order to survive, right? And you should not be spending no more than 30 in your wants. So maybe like eating out or your streaming services, right? Credit cards. Ugh. Those are the things that are wants, and you should not be spending more than 30% of your income there. And then in your savings, you want to target saving 20% of your income. So when we talked about the savings area where we saw like 401ks, IRA contributions, make sure that you're at least contributing 20% to those areas, right? So again, this particular summary right here was designed to elevate, to take you to the next level. Not only do we want you to get great with managing your money and telling your money what to do, but we also want you to think about that 50-30-20 rule, and we want you to become an expert at allocating your money so that you are at least adhering to the rule of thumb, right? The 50-30-20 rule, and get better at it, right? Maybe you might want to change this. You might want to say, hey, you know what? I want 30% going towards my savings, and I'm going to give 20% to my wants. You can do that. That's totally your business if you want to do that. Okay. So again, this is a start, right? You must first start with getting comfortable with managing your money, and then you can graduate to making sure that you're applying that 50-30-20 rule accurately, right? So again, a little more robust than what we saw last week, but very simple from as a concept, right? You're literally just putting in numbers here. You're plugging and playing, right? You're making your budget at the beginning of the month. And then as the month progresses, you're updating what you actually spent to see, how good you were with estimating your budget and making sure that you're not over budget. You're plugging and playing your income amount, right? And so with your income amount, you'll be able to see, hey, whether I'm spending more than I have coming in, right? So if it's red, bad. If it's green, good, right? I keep clicking on that, y'all, please. Sorry. So we want it to always be green because we want it to be good. So again, very, very simple tool conceptually, right? It's simple in concept, but looks a little robust when you first open it. But again, that's why we sectioned it in small bite-sized pieces so that it's easy to navigate through, easy to digest. And then again, you're able to make this your own. Okay, we want you to personalize this because this is your personal money manager. So managing your money should be a very personal thing, right? So make sure that you are making this personable for you. Again, another tool that I am going to encourage you to add to your arsenal, okay? So in order to do so, in order to download this tool, make sure that you are visiting our private Facebook group, okay? Make sure that you are signing up to become a member of our private Facebook group. Make sure you are answering all of the questions so that I can grant you access to our private Facebook group, all right? And that's Cutting Your Taxes 101, Debunking Tax Myths, all right? So search for us under that title. And once you find us, make sure that you answer all those qualifying questions so that we can grant you access, so that you can be able to download this tool, right? And all the other tools that we've talked about, we have been sharing in the group as well. But make sure that you are able to download the tools. Once you're a part of the group, you can definitely feel free to ask questions. If there is something that you had a question about with utilizing the tool, and we'll be sure to get back with you. Okay, so again, just another tool to add to your arsenal, right? While you are on this financial journey, because we're all on this journey with you, no matter where you are. We want to help educate and elevate throughout this entire journey. Okay, so again, FYE Finance family, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day and joining us on tonight's live as we gave you the tutorial edition of how to manage your money by using the Money Manager tool. So until next time, you all have a blessed and wonderful Tuesday evening. See you soon.